what made Silicon Valley? Silicon Valley was the engineers and the capital. If you have a good idea, other people could recognize that it's a good idea, and then you could recruit other people. But what is for sure, the AI is going to get to the point where you do not need to learn to code. And I think that Eric Schmidt said it. People who think you need to send your kid to school to learn to code literally don't have any clue about what's coming. Everybody is going to have superpowers. So then the question is, what is the defining characteristics that make for success? In my opinion, it's community plus capital plus creativity. And that is really about saying, okay, well, if you understand the memeplex in terms of basically you can make something true if you can garner enough community members to participate and dog food the product. All you need on Substack is 1,000 subscribers to your $10 a month writing, and you've got $10,000 a month. Once people realize that communities are valuable, that's a big unlock. I look at what's going on with Starbucks at the moment. Many people would have more faith in the bank of Starbucks than they do in their local one. They interact with it more. They go in every morning and buy their Starbucks and talk to the barista, and they have a banking facility, which is that they can go and give $50 to the person at the teller and get a card with $50 of credit and then get 10% discounts on their coffee. So it is a bank of coffee. I believe every business or brand is a bank of the product that they sell. The only thing that you don't have are the loan facilities. That's where I see it going in the fullness of time, is where loans get created. There are 1 billion credit union members around the world. So that's a pretty decent target community. And they're also a community that understands the value of collective bargaining. And those credit unions are essentially not for profit. So they're not looking to rape and pillage the customer. They're looking to support the customer, which I think is the right relationship. All of those practices of charging you for sending a letter and you go a penny overdraft and then being rapacious with the rates that you're charging, those things are just not good. I mean, a lot of that has been stamped out, but it's still bad behavior. Being value able is about getting the attestation of information so that you can shortcut those processes so that it is not expensive running compliance.
GDPR compliance has led to an estimated 8.1% decline in profits for businesses operating in the EU. GDPR compliance significantly affects profitability.
So the need for technology that proves information verifiably that you can submit into any process, whether that's underwriting or anything that has the right attestation authority. So if you say, oh, I've got attestation of company profits from the auditors or whatever the metrics are, suddenly you have a way of engaging with service providers. And this is what we're trying to build into the Value Social product. You will be able to instruct an AI to say, build me an underwriting tool in order to make loans to community members on terms that are XYZ, right? And in order to qualify, you need to show 5 years of employment receipts or whatever it might be that you can get attestations for. And so that makes everything so much easier. For example, the first attestations that we've got in the Valueverse are KYC AML, because if you want to fund your account, let's say with more than $1,000, you have to go through KYC. Proof of personhood is the first step. Within that, you're now associating those credentials with an ID. If you were to sell that ID, which is how you would try to game the system, you'd say, right, we're going to go and get someone who has no criminal past and they're desperate for money, and we're going to get them to sell us their credentials. So that would be sort of how people try to defraud these systems. But the thing is that if they sell that ID or transfer that ID, they have to reconfirm all of those details. You can't actually game the system. In our case, we're using accredited verification institutions. So for someone to set up an accreditation and then sell it and potentially lose their connection to financial systems is a giant dumb move, right? You're basically fucking yourself. You really are fucking up your life if you do that. So if you want to get into a room that requires you to prove you're over 21 or requires you to prove that you are qualified in whatever way that they want you to be qualified, you won't be able to get in to that space. So you're building your profile to have as many proofs as possible. And the more you associate those proofs with yourself, whether it's that you got a membership at the local paddle club and they've given you an attestation, and that could go to your insurance company because you're getting benefits. And it's just a matter of scanning a QR code. And that's where incentive design comes in, because people collect Nectar points and Air Miles and American Express. And loads of people say, oh, let me just change my card. I want to get the points. If you got incentive from your community for buying independent or buying local, and you could get some benefit from that, and the brand signed up with it, that would be a way of doing it. Points you can't trade because they're non-fungible. That's where I started out, was turning points into money and deciding, oh, liquidate all my points because I want to go on holiday. So you take everything that I bought and it all contributes to going to Ibiza for Rave Up or whatever it is that you want to do. The agency market is a fucking rip-off, especially in America. Paying 5% fees to these assholes for opening the doors is just too much, especially when you've got a process like, the MLS, where you can execute an acquisition in California just by form filling. You don't need a lawyer. But I had always believed that the right way to do it was to claim your house. So you prove that it's yours with the title deeds and everything else. And then you would get a service like Matterport in to make what's called a doll's house of your home. And inside of the doll's house, you actually have a 360-degree image of all the contents inside. And then your home is a gallery, like a store. And you effectively can grant people the ability, if they qualify. So this is where you need their credentials. I'm not having the local fucking, criminals casing my house. But if they provide me with their details and they pay to view my home, they can come and take a virtual tour, and they can show that they've got $5 million to buy the house, or they got $1 million for the down payment. So you've got the proof of funds, you've got the eligibility that you've got a proof for. And then you can say to yourself, okay, so I can now sell my house, save myself 5%. That's great. I can keep it on market all the time. Every house, it should be on the market all the time. You should be able to view it all the time and make an offer and be able to execute on that in short order, because all of the documentation is there for you to be able to execute. So that's the future of home sales. And then everything that you have inside of your house can also be inventorized. And so you imagine that basically you could sell everything that you own and have it inventoried, including your paddle and your mirror and your guitar and your whatever.
Making money is always about an arbitrage of what you know versus what everybody else knows. Know-how is the arbitrage, and trust is the biggest issue. If everyone knew where to get all the bits and bobs that you know how to get together, then they would go and build it themselves. It's like, we are going to move to a world of perfect information. So I think AI plus capital plus community plus creativity is the winning formula. This is where we're going. And you want to have that perfect information not given out for free to fucking technocrats like Google and Apple and Amazon and have them own it. You want to have it owned by your Wall Street bets, and you keep that information amongst your community, and then you become a closed loop. That's the whole thing. It's about owning my data. That's why we say own first, earn through joining with others. You're not worth much on your own. When you get together with your groups, with your communities, you can earn. Then you can save, then you can spend, right? That's the process. We have everything ready. We have the social tool. We have the video tool. We have the chat tool. We have the metaverse. We have the gamification. We have the blockchain. We have the attestations. We have the on-ramps. We have the off-ramps. We have the pieces of the puzzle that says, now you can become valuable. And that's why all information is valuable, but the truth is priceless, because we have to get them to attest to what is true. And once you start to get to the truth, you get over the trust hump and you get verified data. And once you get verified data, you start to be able to build this technology with AI. Well, that's why the union is so valuable, right? That's why I've been focusing on unions, because there's 1 billion people that understand the collective value of their bargaining power. Now you give them the collective data power, and they understand that they own it, not us. They own it. They are very attractive to advertisers that will give them benefits. And those benefits, we would like to be able to say, hey, stop giving out these stupid fucking air miles and points and garbage. Create a branded currency that is redeemable for goods and services that my AI agent can use in the wallet to go and buy the things that I want. And by the way, they can be mineable coins that I'll provide you with hash power from my devices, from my computers and everything else, that I will secure your network, that you can give me extras. And that's why we can merge mine up to 22 chains at the moment now. That could go higher. It's in the brand's interest because the brand gets loyalty. So if I basically become a repeat buyer, that I can prove, by the way, they can afford, from a customer acquisition perspective, to offer goods and services at a 5% discount to those that hold the coin that represents their good or service. That's why we talked about Starbucks. And the ability to sell that, to accumulate those coins that have value, so that you're not getting a 5% discount, you're getting 5% of the coins that have a value, that you can then collect and then sell to buy something else that you want a value, is true loyalty incentive. Because I should have the freedom to spend that where I want, which seems entirely reasonable.